Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the brand new Jack Wolf Knives Gateway Barlow. And I think this is very exciting. I know these were announced at Blade Show, but I didn't get a chance to check them out there. But if you don't already know, the Gateway Barlow is going to be a new series for Jack Wolf, which will be basically an introduction to Jack Wolf knives. So that means a much cheaper price point than anything we've seen before on this channel from Jack Wolf. And I think they will be much more obtainable to the masses. So in order to get down prices, you had to do things different. You get the knife in this box with a little sleeve with some nice artwork. And then if you look inside the vent, you got Jack Wolf Knives Gateway. So this box is going to be standard, he said, for all the Gateway series. And then the different names will be on the scanning label right here. I love the size of this one. It's coming in at 6.85 inches overall. It has a 2.98 inch clip point blade of 14C 28N steel. It has a satin finish on the blade, nice top swedge that thins out that tip, giving you a very needle-like bulky tip there. Great for piercing. You have a well-executed sharpening notch. You should get a lot of sharpening life before you'll run into that thicker plunge grind. And another way to cut down on cost, went with thinner blade stock, which I'm all for, at 0.10, so I think a little thinner than a Benchmade bug out, paired with a full flat grind instead of the full height hollow grind. That way he's able to not just keep down the price, he's able to still get these nice and thin. This one is around 13 thousandths behind the edge, so should still slice very well, and being that it has the full flat grind, it should perform even better on those denser materials that I cut, like the corner cardboard and the tubing, because sometimes with the hollow grind, whenever you get to that full thickness toward the spine, it starts to kind of wedge a little bit. And it's not super noticeable with the Jack Wolf stuff anyway because of how thin they are to begin with, but I'm interested to see how it's going to perform in those materials. Why don't we find out? This knife came with a fantastic edge out of box, and I was interested to see how this one was going to perform. This one has the full flat grind, but it has thinner blade stock, and it's just as thin as the hollow ground Big Brother from Jack Wolf, the premium version. And so far, it's slicing very, very well. I expected it to, and I expect this one to slice or perform even better on the dense materials. We'll see that in just a little while, but yeah, it's definitely slicing very well. You got enough straight edge portion to get some decent length cuts in hand cuts like that, and so far so good. The 14C holds up well. You know, I've already tested the Steel Series 14C. They do a good job with it. Now we move on to the Ergos. And nothing crazy, you know, it's a thin edge. I'm mainly seeing how the fine edge is gonna do fine curls, and it did great. Nothing was uncomfortable, perfect size. I love the size of this one. The contouring felt good in the hand, no hot spots, no matter which grip I held it in. It was nice and comfortable the entire way, and of course the fine edge was really, really good. I've already said it's nice and sharp. So yeah, so far so good. Moving to the 1/2 inch sisal rope, and when I get started with the sisal rope, I try to see the least amount of pressure I can put into the sisal rope to get through it. And it was moderate pressure. It wasn't super hard. It has that perfect amount of belly to where I can do push cuts easy if I want on a flat cutting surface. I can do saw in motion cuts. I can do pull cut. I can do like a drag cut through it. And, you know, the knife's comfortable in the pinch grip. And that edge geometry and the sharpness of the edge play such a big role in this particular portion of the testing. You know, if the edge doesn't have good bite to it, it's going to skate off the sisal rope and make my job a nightmare. But no new blisters were formed. That means it was nice and sharp, nice and comfortable. So that's all I can really ask for. You know, you'd be surprised on how many companies send me out subpar edges or just straight, almost dull edges. And I mean, they know I'm gonna be testing these things, so that just goes to show you that I don't think too many companies are cherry picking which knife they send me. If so, they're doing a terrible job. Some of them, not all of them. But yeah, that makes me happier than anything when the knife comes sharp like it should. It is a knife. I mean, come on. So now we move on to the leather. And, you know, you could use the tip if you wanted to, but it's a lot easier just to drag that belly through it. You know, you don't have to think a whole lot to do that. And when we got to the tubing and all that, it blasted through it just as I expected. It's going to perform better in the tubing, the dense corner cardboard, any dense materials like that. It's going to perform just a little bit better than the hollow grind, but they're both what and what. So excellent job here. I thought it performed better than any of this other slip joints I have in this price point. So can't ask for much more than that. Let me know what y'all think. Well, I thought this one performed really, really well. It came with a nice sharp edge, that full flat sliced very well. And as far as the ergos go, I thought this one was nice and comfortable because you have this Barlow sleeve board pattern handle here. No craziness going on, very broomstick-esque. And you got nice contouring, all that. So for me, my medium-sized hands, I got an easy 4-finger grip on it, plus some to spare, so it should fit large hands, maybe extra large hands if you choke all the way up to this flat portion, which whenever I was doing in-hand cuts, that's where I was sitting. That way I have a little bit more protection, just in case. I'm not usually worried about that because I'm very mindful when I'm using a slip joint, just how I'm cutting things. And over the years, testing 1,000+ knives now on the channel, I try to treat every knife as a friction folder. That way you're way less likely to get cut by something. No matter which grip I hold this in, it's going to be nice and comfortable. Got a nice rounded butt end right there. Very nicely done. Now, let's check out the walk and talk on this one. So you have a single-sided long pull there, and there's still enough for me to get my fingers in there to do a pinch to open. And then you have enough of a lip on the long pull, at least for mine, to be able to pinch it open. Just enough. The satin finish on this one is a little bit slicker, but like I said, I can still pinch to open it. That's all that really matters to me. And Ben of Jack Wolf, I think he said the pull strength is around a 6.5. And it's a little bit lighter on purpose, and I personally appreciate that because it's hard for me to pinch anything, especially if I don't have a good pinch to it, but I can still pinch to open it. Still have that nice half stop, flush in the half stop position, and then that nice positive pop to it. Listen to it on the close. Still that classic Jack Wolf walk and talk. Now let's close it up. Take a look at the handle area. Probably the biggest noticeable difference between this one and the more premium ones and the steel series that he's done is the fact that this one is pin construction. If you look at the Big Bro in the steel series, see you have bolted together hardware. You have the more traditional approach here. And why that's cheaper is because you don't have to pay extra for the different bore sizes. That's more machine time, more money. And you don't have to pay for the hardware, which I'm pretty certain the hardware is more expensive than the small pins. Your pins are nickel silver. You have triple fluted stainless steel bolsters there with like a brushed satin finish on them. I think it's a nice look. You have the shield there, and boy, I gotta say, they did a fantastic job on the shield. For the price point, it's unbelievable. I got my eyes closed right now. I cannot tell you where that shield's at. No gaps, and then all your pins are nice and flush with a brushed satin finish on them. Like I said earlier, you have contoured scales. This one has like an olive green canvas micarta cover. Your bolster is integral with the stainless steel liner. It's not welded on or anything. And then look, you still have that flawless back spring, and it's hard to even see where that spring is. Now y'all can probably see it because this is in HD and in macro mode. You got a brushed satin finish on the back spring. I think that's the only spot that I can kind of see it. Other than that, they did a remarkable job there. Not my favorite micarta, but to keep the price down, you had to go with the material that the OEM had, and it's just that standard overseas micarta with like a semi-polished finish on it, unlike the matte finish on the Big Bro, and this one's like a burlap. You still get decent grippiness to it. Blade centering is right down the pipe. And your weight on this one is coming in at 85.7 grams or 3.02 ounces. Nice. Now for some quick size comparisons. My particular sample is literally a hair longer than the Big Bro Jack. Next, it's a little smaller than the Rosecraft Blades Nola Chucky, and it's a little bigger than the Rosecraft Blades Loosahatchee Jack. And it's just a hair shorter than the Rosecraft Blades Briar Patch Jack, and it's a hair longer than a Case Sidebuster Jr. It's just a hair bigger than the QSP Hedgehog, and it's a little bigger than the Real Steel Barlow. And lastly, it's a little smaller than the Ontario Rat 2 and the QSP Penguin. Now, being that absolutely no knife's perfect, what are my nitpicks complaints? Now, these are just nitpicks because these are not hurting the functionality of the knife whatsoever. I don't love the satin finish. It looks good there, but when you look at it aside, you can tell it's like a machined satin, kind of like Kubi used to do. I'd much prefer this belt satin look, but I'm sure this one is a little bit more expensive, so I get it. And lastly, I don't like the overseas micarta. I don't know if it's the color or just the way it is, but it still offers that same tactility. And that's a super minor thing because there's several other different variations. You got a rosewood, you got a marbled carbon fiber that looks great, an abalone that I think is probably going to be a super popular one. You have a blue bone, so tons of awesome options. So what are my final thoughts on the new Jack Wolf Gateway Barlow? I'm super excited to see a Jack Wolf at a price that I feel like I can recommend to everyone. In my opinion, I think these are priced well. I think the quality matches the price. These come in at $69.99. You get nice walk and talk. You get a blade that's still nice and thinly ground and performed outstanding in my opinion. Your materials are all perfectly mated, no high spots, and allows you to get into a Jack Wolf knife for well under $100. I think that's awesome. So if you're interested in this one, I will have it linked down below. However, depending on when you're watching this, these don't drop till July 1st. So if you're watching this when this one drops on June 30th, they will not be available yet. So if you go to click on it, it says sold out or coming soon, you'll know why. I'd love to hear y'all thoughts on the new Gateway series. He said he will be bringing other patterns in. He's trying to give everybody what they want. Let me know, is this one that interests you, or do you prefer saving up for one of the more premium ones, or is it still out of your price range? So that's going to wrap up today's video. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. You can leave those down below and I'll do my best to get back with you. Hope every single one of y'all is having a fantastic day today. And remember, keep these blades sharp. Smile more. Peace.